boy Omari G. You are now tuning into my digital episodic series, Where Do We Go From Here? Today I got a very special individual, my friend, my brother, Bennie Dub.
Hey, what's going on?
What's good? What's good? Chilling, man. How you been?
Been good, man. Yeah, trying to stay healthy, trying to stay corona-free.
Corona-free.
Exactly.
Keep your social distancing.
Yes, sir.
So, what's the latest, man? Anything?
Man, currently, before
What's the
the,
family?
first of all, fam's straight.
Fam's
Fam's good, they healthy. Baby girl birthday coming up.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm just excited for that, you know what I'm saying? And other than that, man, I've just been working on the new EP right now, The Great Unknown. So
The Great Unknown.
Yeah.
EP coming soon, man. Bennie Dub, man. He's back in the business, for sure.
Back on it.
So, going into this EP, man, like, what's your motive for it?
Man, it's actually me coming back into rap, you know what I'm saying? Like I had took some time off, really just trying to find myself again and trying to find the love, you know what I'm saying, for music again. So after a while, I was just like, man, look, my girl was like, you need to go ahead and do it. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. That's it.
Well, you've been rapping since the age of 13, though. Like, how did your pathway to hip hop even begin?
To be honest, like, rap wasn't even on my radar as far as what I wanted to do in life. Honestly, I had dreams like every other kid in the hood, you know what I'm saying? I was playing ball, I was running track, that was my thing.
Right.
Rap just kind of fell in my lap one day, I have a musical background, I play different instruments or whatever. I play the trumpet, I play the baritone, drums, all self-taught, you know what I'm saying? So when rapping was presented to me by my uncle, it kind of it just happened, really.
So let's revisit that era. Like, what was your first studio session like?
Trash, bro. Like, honestly, my uncle kicked me out the studio.
What?
Yeah, he wrote this. It took me about like 3 hours to cut my first verse, and we was trying to find my tone. And after a while, he was just like, fam, you just not gonna cut it. So he taught me how to use the MPC. So I started making beats, which later I ended up rapping on.
Right.
And the beat came out hard for what it was for me just learning. So he was like, well, maybe he gonna be a producer. And I'm the type of person like, nah, fam, like, you tell me I can do something, I gotta show you. Right. I went to school, I just practiced that verse, went back to the studio, hit it, and gonna rap after that. That's it.
And it was history from there, huh?
Yes, sir.
So you played the trumpet and
baritone,
and
I played the drums. I started playing the drums at the age of 3, and I started playing in the church at the age of 5.
Did the instruments ever transition into your rap career, or?
Not me, at least playing on a track of my own, but it helped as far as being able to read music, know what measures were. It kind of transitioned for me to understand, like, okay, this is what bars are, you know what I'm saying? Like, different terminology when it came to rapping. Like, it was just me using my voice. I had to learn how to use my voice as an instrument instead of me playing something live. So it helped in a way.
Definitely, yeah,
the rhythm part, yeah, it helped.
Definitely understand that. So you were born in Houston.
Yeah.
Raised in Compton.
Yes, sir.
The West Coast and South have totally different sounds.
Yeah.
So how does the South influence your music?
Man, okay, I used to spend a lot of my summers in Houston. So when I heard Screw for the first time, I honestly didn't know what it was. I used to tell my boys, I used to like come out here, I would tell my boys like, I'm going to Texas. To them in Cali, like especially back then, they just thought it was cowboys out here. Like you would think it was like an old western, like in their eyes. And I'm like, nah, Houston is like it's like LA. You know what I'm saying? It's a big city. So my cousin used to play Screw all the time. Like, oh, you know about this DJ Screw? Like, what is that? It was like foreign to me. You know what I'm saying? So I took a Screw tape back to Cali and I was playing it for my homies, and they were just like, fam, what is this? And I'm like, man, this is stuff that they banging out in Houston. Surprisingly, like later on, like Slim was like already like Still Tipping was out, you know what I'm saying? So we was already kind of on that wave, but the screw, like as far as underground, it was a whole different sound. So for me, like I listen to a lot of the Scarface. Scarface is just the ability to storytell and all that. So I kind of use that in my music now because I'm more of a storyteller. You just talked about real life. So that translated into my music. So I try to fuse both of them together.
So how would you think that transition from leaving Houston, going to Compton, how would you think the West Coast influenced your music?
See, the West Coast was more like walking type beats. No pun intended, like as far as walking, like whether you crip or blood or whatever, right? The beats was always, the beats was just moving, like Dre, Exhibit, we had DJ Quick, every West Coast song you hear, even now, is more like, you just get up and you just start doing your thing, like whatever. So my music then was more walking. Then I came out here and I started listening to more Southern music, and that kind of slowed it down. So now I guess the lines are blurred. So if you hear my music now, you don't know where I was from.
Exactly, you can't.
It's like you hear somebody like Rodney Ricch now, who's from Compton, he sound like he's from Atlanta. Or somebody like T Grizzly, who's from Detroit, he sound like he's from the West Coast. So all the lines is blurred now, so you wouldn't really know. But I mean, as far as how it helped, it did a little bit, But my sound now is just my sound.
Definitely, you have to find your own self-identity.
Pretty much.
Okay. So what do you believe makes the mark of a good artist then? Finding that self-identity is like, that's what a lot of artists are missing, I feel like nowadays.
Yeah, everything is more of what's hot right now. A lot of the artists is getting lost in the sauce, as people say. But for me, like, what makes a great artist is just somebody that can turn any situation, any life experience, and create something that resonates with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would say even like patience. What I read is the calm endurance quality. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still learning that myself because as you get older, your patience.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It gets thin, so I don't really be having time to be like, I'm like an artist. Like, I want it now. Like I've been in the game for so long, and I've been in circles and a part of situations that most people would dream of, and yet still nobody knows who I am. So that's the whole hints of the great unknown. Because I've done a whole lot. Like people be like, damn, you was with so and so. Like, yeah, oh, you wrote that. Like, yeah, but nobody would ever know.
Right.
But it goes back to, just being a good artist, is just having that endurance, having that passion. Because ultimately my passion is what keeps bringing me back to music. No matter how many times I'll be like, man, I'm done. I keep coming back to it.
So, is it important for you to go down the record label lane, or are you trying to stay more independent?
It's not, it was important then, because I was getting shopped around a lot. But now with social media, you don't need a label. I mean, there's really only 3 labels now, I believe, like major. It's just Sony, I think Warner, and Universal.
Yeah.
Like that's it. So
Atlanta Records.
Really now, I mean, since they all merged and Universal bought up everything, like a conglomerate, you know what I'm saying?
And then you got United Masters as well. So
exactly. So
distribution for
it's the time of the independence. Exactly. It's the time of the independence. And the thing was, like my team back in 2008, we just didn't prepare for it like we should have. Right. But we saw it was coming. Like eventually, music was gonna go back to artists being independent.
And ain't it a good feeling?
To actually be, I mean,
it's not all this labels want you to come in.
Yeah.
We want you to be this type of person.
Yeah. Now it's just a name, bro. It's like anything else. It's like clothes or whatever. It's just a brand. So just to have a Universal attached, like they can help you get in those rooms like Good Morning America. You know what I'm saying? Just because they have those connections that an independent wouldn't. But that's all they're really good for now is just the connections.
So you got to travel many different places, I'm assuming, as you
grew
up. Do you think that took a stunt on your creativity, being that you've been rapping for over 10 years?
I wouldn't even say,
Or did you find it hard to be creative after such a long time?
not necessarily the creativity was the issue for me, it's the motivation.
Well, I'm
gonna give it to you like this. Like the way I would describe my career in just an analogy form is basically I'm that star player on the team that always gets to like the conference finals, but we never get over that hump. We like lose in game 7, you know what I'm saying? So I honestly see my career has been that. Like I've been in dope meetings, I've been in dope rooms with a lot of big names, and it's just I never had that. You know what I'm saying? To get over the hump. So for me, that's where the motivation is because like at the end of the day, I'm like, what am I doing it for? The creativity is always gonna be there for me, like, cause I believe like what I have is a gift from God. Cause like if I'm presented an opportunity and somebody's like, yo, Dub, we need this, or we need this, I'm like, bet, it's like a switch now. Like I've been doing it for so long, like I just literally like, I can turn that switch on and go in and then come out the studio and be like whatever, but it reverts back to the passion. Even though I don't have like the motivation sometimes to do it, my passion for music, I always find myself in front of a microphone.
Right.
All the time. Exactly. So the creativity is always gonna be there, it never left. It's just for me the motivation to bring that creativity back. That's what really drives me and my passion for music personally.
Now you said you had your foot in the production lane as well. Is film one of your new endeavors?
That was something that was presented to me. I had a situation pop up and my manager just came to me and was like, yo, I need you to create a TV show. And so I'm like, okay, I've never created a TV show before. So me and wifey went back. She Googled on like how to write a log line and how to write a treatment and a pilot and whatever. I came up with the idea, we put our heads together and it just came out. We pitched it and they liked it. So right now, I don't want to speak on it too much, but we in the process of, getting some LOIs done, which is letters of intent, on actually shooting the show.
So is production and film something you can see yourself doing in the near future, or
I want
to stay in rap?
I wouldn't mind it. I mean, it's just something that just me rap and what people at least they would they know now. Like rap just opens doors to so many other things. Like rap is just a way to break through. Like I never saw myself writing no show, but the fact is I write rap, and that creativity goes back to that. I was able to come up with episodes like, yo, I just used that and the metaphors of, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Like, oh, that's dope. And people just fed off of it. So my ability to write rap just translated into film and being able to storytell. So that's something I could see myself doing it in the long run for sure.
So in your younger ages, you had a relationship with MTV. How did that come to fruition?
So when I was 16, I was signed to this label, Throwback Records. Shout out to John and Todd Parker. I was signed to them. They were a rock label at the time, so I was the only hip hop act that they took on. But they really liked me.
You said they were a rock label?
It was a rock label, and they signed me. Yeah. Okay. So it was crazy to even think about that. Like they really believed in what I was doing. So at the time when I signed with them, I remember getting my first check, like personal check. They wrote me a check for like $1,000. So I'm like 16 years old.
Still got it?
I don't got that check no more. They still got cash. ASAP. I'm 16. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never seen that much money before. So I'm like, yo, 1,000. They took me. They got me my first publishing deal at Windswept, which at the time was like one of the biggest independent publishing companies. So everybody was signed to them, from Neo, anybody that was a writer was signed to them. So they gave me a deal. I didn't have any placements because anybody that knows music, having a publishing deal usually got placements on albums and stuff like that. So I got my deal off of faith that I could deliver. That was just an act of God, and they actually believed in what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? So
it was just like, yo, I got 50,000, 16. I'm making more than the majority of my teachers at my school.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the whole MTV thing came when we were shooting like my EPK. They were shopping me around the labels. We took the meeting with MTV as a, pretty much just trying to pitch a show. Because at the time, I think they had like Ashley Simpson and Travis Barker had a show. A lot of white, you know what I'm saying? Like it really wasn't no people of color. Yeah, it wasn't nothing like that. So I went in there, I told my story of what it was, and the execs like started crying. Like real tears. Like I'm telling them my story and they were just like, for like 15 seconds after I was done, it just was silence. Like they were just sitting there and they were just like, yeah, we're gonna go back. Yeah, we're gonna go back and we're gonna get our team together. We're gonna, talk. Yeah, so they were just like, it was a pleasure to meet you. We're gonna go back and see what we come up with. A couple weeks later, I got the call like they didn't know how to market me. They told me straight up I was too mature for my age. That was the answer that I got, and I always thought you would think that was a good thing. But at the time, at least for their brand, and of course you got shows like Jackass and you got Real World on, like they didn't know what to do with me.
Right.
Because I was at the point at that time, like my mom had left, my mom was back in Houston. I was staying with my grandparents. My dad wasn't around at the time, so it was just my uncle and my grandparents. So I was talking about real life, like that's what I was going through. They didn't know how to market that to their core base. So
It's too authentic.
exactly, so it fell through, which goes back to the whole point of being in the game 7, you know what I'm saying? And being right there on the cusp, but not being able to get over that hump. So it is what it is.
Definitely. Well, entering the industry as a teen, you were exposed to 2 different eras of hip hop.
Yeah.
Back then, you had the Gang that was still hot. You had.
He was popping. I battled him actually.
Oh,
I battled him outside of the W Hotel.
The Gang.
The Gang. This is before he was the Gang though. He was signed to DreamWorks at the time. This is before he was with Dre. He still had like the little butterfly tat and everything.
So this was the Belly Gang.
Yeah.
Belly Gang.
And this is even before that. Like he wasn't known. Like I think he had like a mixtape or something out, but he wasn't known at the time. So at this time I was running with the Rough Riders. So why basically we was outside of I think it was Nelly's party after the Soul Train Music Awards, and the Gang was out there, and he just brought some people over. He was like, yo, listen to my young boy rap, listen to my young rap. He's like, kick it. Rap in front of these 2 girls. Next thing I know, it's a circle. And it's J.O. Felonies, Eve. There's a bunch of people, just like all the Rough Rider camp, and then it's the Gang, and we battled. Like right there in front of everybody. I'm 13 years old, man. Battling the Game, like straight up. It's a true story. Check.
So, being that you did experience the old, what they call the old hip hop now, now you're in the new hip hop, you're still able to maintain that creativity of your music, and your music just shows that hip hop is more of a reality to you than a fantasy. So, from here on, where do we go from here?
Man, for me, it's just about staying authentic, man. Like it's being myself all the way through and not allowing the mainstream to try to change what I was doing. Because I'm not gonna lie, before I even came back to doing music, that's what I was doing. Like I was literally listening to stuff and just be like, okay, what is it gonna take for something to catch? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I need to make a turn up song? Do I need to make a club record? What kind of record do I need to make to get people to listen? After a while, dog, I'm just like, you know what, look, I'm gonna do me unapologetically, and it's gonna touch somebody. Like somebody gonna like it. I mean, I got good response from, the tape that I dropped before. Like my very first tape I dropped in 2014, and the response was dope. So I'm like, why don't I just had to go back to the drawing board and go back to that and just being authentic, telling the real life issues, the real life stories, stuff that people can relate to, because we all got struggles. I mean, it's cool. It's a nice balance that we have in music now, like to where you got the stuff that you turn up to that I listen to, but at the end of the day, too, people want something that's gonna feed their soul.
I'll make them feel.
Exactly. You got to feel something. That goes back to what makes a great artist. It's just something that resonates. And I feel like the music I made eventually is gonna resonate with somebody. So me trying to fit in, I just need to do my thing. So that's where I'm going from here.
Hey man, I'm excited. I'm here for you, my boy.
Appreciate you.
If you need anything, man, just hit me up,
That's love, for sure. That's love, man.
Episode 1, where do we go from here? Bennie Dub, thank you for watching.
Thank you.